on Sunday Night Football, and that is the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders, guys, finally locked in the playoff run with the overtime win over the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. As of right now, the Washington Commanders are 6th seed and looking to play the LA Rams. The Commanders improved to 11-5 on the NFL season. But the question is, guys, can the Washington Commanders make a playoff run? This is another team that I thought was kind of fugazi most of the season. This is another team that I was kind of overlooking and kind of throwing slight shade at them all season long. When we look at the Washington Commanders, guys, they're 1-4 versus playoff teams so far this season. They have not played a lot of great competition, and they haven't performed when they have to play good teams like the Buccaneers. They lost week 1. I understand, rookie quarterback on the road, you're bound to lose, right? They did battle the Ravens after the Ravens were after the Commanders' 4-game winning streak, but then they lost consecutive games to the Steelers, Eagles, and Cowboys. That is when I totally threw the talent on them once they lost to the Eagles and Cowboys in back-to-back weeks. But right now, when you look at the Washington Commanders, they could make a legitimate playoff threat. They could upset the LA Rams. They could potentially beat whoever else is in front of them. However, they beat the Falcons last night because the Falcons had poor clock management at the end of the game. Let's just be honest. Raheem Mostert, fourth quarter, 30 seconds left. They threw an out route. They're at the 50. They let 15, 20 seconds run off that clock. And it ended up kicking a 50-yard field goal to, was 56 yards, and they shorted it, right? Send the game into overtime. Poor clock management, should have lost that game. Then they've been getting lucky in a handful of games as well. The Hail Mary play versus the Chicago Bears. They lose to the Bears. We might be we might be talking about the Bears in the playoffs and the Commanders not. The following week got lucky versus the Giants. The week after that, lucky versus the Saints. And then they got lucky versus the Philadelphia Eagles as well just 2 weeks ago when Jalen Hurts went out with that concussion. Let's just be honest. So can they make a serious playoff run? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because Dan Quinn in big-time games does not coach his best football. Flashback to the Atlanta Falcons, 28-3. Did not coach his best football. When he was with the defensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys, in big-time games, that defense didn't show up because he did not coach his best football. I have faith in the Commanders as the players aspect, right? As the personnel aspect, but I'm worried about their coaching aspect. I'm worried about Dan Quinn, and I'm worried about how they would legitimately perform versus a team that has been there, done that. Rams have won a Super Bowl. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won a Super Bowl. Not with Baker Mayfield, but they have won a Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles have won a Super Bowl. I do not see them getting past the first round. It's been a great story. It's been a hell of a season, right? 11-5. The first time they got 11 wins since 1991. First time they make the playoffs since 2020. And before that, 2015. Long droughts, right? I get it. Michael, my man, Washington Commanders fan, Washington Commanders insider. Great man. He did not have them doing very well. I think they're a first-round exit. So what do you guys think? Will the Washington Commanders are they a legitimate playoff threat? And Jameson says Washington is a legitimate threat. Are they a threat because of the aging defense or because of Jaden Daniels? That is a real question. Or are they a threat because you think they can beat the Rams? Because when we think about threats, right, obviously seeding and playoff matchups matter, right? I don't think the Commanders match up well against the Rams. I'm just saying. He says, Jaden Daniels reminds me of Lamar. No way. No way. If he reminds you of Lamar, that is not a playoff threat. Jaden Daniels might have the scramble ability and legs like Lamar Jackson, but he is a hell of a lot better passer. He's a hell of a lot more polished player. He's a hell of a lot better leader. He is way better than Lamar Jackson. John says, I remember an old man saying they would make the playoffs. I mean, really, that's not a reach, though, John. Because when you look at the top 7 teams in the NFC, they all got 11, 12 plus wins, right? But beyond that 17, they all suck. The NFC is very, very top heavy. Casey says, I'm liking that rookie on the Commanders. Give me some Jaden Daniels. John says, second round exit when they play the Detroit Lions. Okay. Laura's saying, I still don't think the Commanders are ready to play in the playoffs. I want to believe in them, but man, it is hard. And honestly, Laura, I am with you. It would be great to see a rookie quarterback go in there and do his thing and potentially make it to the NFC Championship game. It really, really would. But I've said this about the Commanders all season long. This team reminds me of the 2019-2020 New York Football Giants. When Brian Daboll came in, it was said to be a total rebuild, right? We're totally rebuilding the whole team. Then they make the playoffs. Then they beat your Minnesota Vikings, if I'm not mistaken, in that wild card game. It was supposed to be the rebuild year, but they're having success. They're like, well, we're having success. Why rebuild? Well, you needed to rebuild because your team sucks. You got lucky. Now look where they're at. Top pick in the NFL draft yet again. The Washington Commanders. This was supposed to be the rebuild year. They've gotten lucky. They've gotten some good wins, some close wins. Nice little easy schedule. When you play the Dallas Cowboys and Giants twice, that's a nice little easy schedule. Yes, you lost to the Cowboys, but still. But then you play the Cardinals, you play the Browns, you play the Panthers, you play the Bears, Titans, and Saints. All very, very winnable games. So am I saying that they'll be bad next year? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I see the Giants 2.0 written all over them. Slow down. Derek says this season has had a lot of surprises. That coach used his time off well. They trip. Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys for 4 years before he got a coaching job again. So not really time off, but time to rethink, right? He went from this guy to this guy, right? He went from cool uncle to like he went from strict dad to cool uncle. John Truzzo says the Falcons suck. They're not very good. Let's just be honest. They're not very good. You are right. Josh says, I think they will get into the second round of the playoffs. Many people are seeing them win the wild card, but why? Is it because they're playing the Rams? Or is it because they're actually that good? They're 1-4 versus playoff teams so far this season. Losses to the Buccaneers, losses to the Ravens, Steelers, and Eagles, right? Their lone playoff win came from the Philadelphia Eagles 2 weeks ago when they didn't have their starting quarterback. I'm just saying. And Alpha Rob brings some validity in here. He says, slow it down, baby. The Washington Commanders get bounced in the first round. Stop it. And what happened to Hill? Like Taysom Hill? Is that who you guys are referring to? Which Hill? Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill wants to go back to Kansas City and win a Super Bowl. Drew says, but DQ isn't making the calls. He's managing, not calling. From the game last night there, Drew, it looked like he was definitely calling defensive of like plays, right? So you are correct. I believe Lane Kiffin is the offensive coordinator. But I don't think he was the offensive play caller versus the Patriots either. But I'm just saying. But he's saying Washington is a legit threat. And Casey says Washington is the NFC dark horse. And if you had to pick a dark horse, Packers or Commanders, I would not say you're wrong on like either or. So yeah, like I get it. Josh Lee says, "Did you see the Bills' schedule for next season?" I have not yet, but I know they're 4-year cycles or whatever, right? So, John's in the chat. What's up, John? What's up? Rudy B. Moore says, "Let's go Ravens. Let's go for that first round exit." I'm kidding. Chill guy UT says, "John, I guarantee you the Falcons go 11-6 next year if we get a good pick." Nah, you a closet fan. All right.